Are you a God-fearing man, Senator? That's such a strange phrase. I've always thought of God as a teacher, as a bringer of light, wisdom, and understanding. You see, I think what you really are afraid of is me.
You are now listening to Just My Thoughts on Graffiti Bleu Radio, powered by Blog Talk Radio for Graffiti Bleu, worldwide at gblue.com.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, dudes and dudettes, the sexy and the not so sexy, big children and little. I'm the novelist, author, poet, Lamont Anthony Wright, aka Graffiti Bleu. Welcome to episode 6 of Just My Thoughts. I'm trying to figure out where to take the first bite of this one. Episode 6, we're talking about deconstructing the lie. Deconstructing the lie. There's a lot to unpack here, so just bear with me. One of the most common things I've been hearing as of late, figure this is, the time I'm taping this is mid-July 2020. And with everything going on, one of the common things that I hear from people, be they be of any racial ethnicity, male or female, young or old, what I'm hearing is people are just like, well, I don't know what to believe. I don't know what to believe.
First off, this ain't no woe was me tale about being cold and hungry. I grew up comfortably as a child of the 70s. Nick's jacket.
I don't know what to believe. That is like the most common thing that I've been hearing. And in the vein of the I don't know what to believe, I was asking myself, how did we get here? Do we really believe that this group of people over here is better than this group of people over here for whatever reason? Do most people on the planet believe in something higher than themselves? Even if we may, as a people, disagree on the semantics of whatever, do we really believe that this group of people is not equal to this people over here? And some people may believe that. You find whatever. I can't tell you what's true and what's not true. You'll have to discern that for yourself. I know what my truth is, and I know a few of the things that were happening when I started realizing that not everybody is telling the truth. Is when we constantly, I think what needs to happen is that many of us, in deconstructing these lies, many of us have to take a few things into consideration more often than not. Like every day we have to keep certain things into consideration. Some of us, for example, get our information from a certain news media outlet, and depending on what station your television is stuck on, that is the narrative that we're getting. I just want you guys to realize, I'm not telling you anything new with this, is that be careful, because media has never been more consolidated than it is right now. There are 6 media giants right now controlling a staggering 90% of what we read, watch, or listen to. What I'm reading is from this article called The Business Insider at businessinsider.com for this edition of Just My Thoughts. Just follow me here. They have an article in here called The Illusion of Choice. And they're saying that all of the big media outlets out there are basically owned by these 6 companies. These 6 companies are General Electric, GE owns Comcast, NBC, Universal Pictures, and Focus Features. News Corp is company number 2. Notable properties they own is Fox, the Wall Street Journal, and the New York Post. Company number 3 is Disney. Surprise, surprise. Their notable properties are ABC, ESPN. I didn't know Disney owned the Sports Center. Pixar, Miramax, and Marvel Studios. We knew that. Partially. Company number 4 is Viacom. Notable properties are MTV, Nick Jr., BET, Country Music Television, and Paramount Pictures. Company number 5 is Warner Brothers, Time Warner. Notable properties, CNN, HBO, Time, and of course Warner Brothers. CBS is company number 6. And their notable properties are Showtime, the Smithsonian Channel, NFL.com, Jeopardy, and 60 Minutes. So, the illusion of choice. So just remember that when we're getting our information, humans, we're really lazy. We really just want to turn on one trusted source of information, get all of our information from that one trusted source, and then regurgitate it out to people. Sometimes when you're arguing with someone, you're really not, those ideas that they have are not even their ideas. They were planted there by somebody. Sometimes you can argue with people and all you hear are the talking points of somebody else. Some knee-jerk reactions. Sometimes you'll hear a campaign slogan. You know what I mean? And people are quick to say it. And don't think that the powers that be don't realize the power of repeating the same thing. You know, make America great again. You say this 100 times and people really put it in their head, you know, just no different from any of us remembering a commercial jingle from 30 years ago. You repeat it and you repeat it and you repeat it, and there's a certain music to it, there's a certain cadence to it. It sticks to your brain because as human beings, we like things, we remember things that are repetitions in nature or repetitive in nature. No different than a flashing light gets your attention with its persistence, and no difference than me repeating the same phrase in a blog or a song that sticks out because I repeated it 50 times during the last 30 seconds or whatever. Deconstructing the Lie. Welcome to episode 6 of Just My Thoughts. I am not telling you what is truth and what is non-truth. What I'm trying to do is deconstruct all of the lies. In that media vein and in that illusion of choice vein, we covered how all of media, well, 90% of media is owned by about 6 companies. I listed the companies, and when I personally started noticing that the news was not necessarily in the best interest of the people, the news is really in the best interest of ratings. I'm not telling you anything you don't know. So a lot of times things happen and the media doesn't play it like they have an archive of things that happened. A news media is basically they have a plethora of information because they're always reporting on things. So even if they just go back to their own archives, the media knows a lot, but the media doesn't act like they know a lot when they're trying to get you to tune in. They know a lot when they want to argue a point, right? When they want to argue a point, all of a sudden they go into the archives and find the whatever to support their side of the argument, which they choose to take. Okay. When it comes time for people to tune in, that's not really the narrative. It's like, we don't know. The narrative is basically, ooh, we don't know. Be scared, be scared, be scared. How do we get around this? Tune in after the break, and we'll discuss on how to get out of this. And I'll give you an example. I remember the housing collapse of 2008, and all of a sudden they get on the TV, oh my goodness, the housing bubble, oh gosh, economic calamity, all these things. Congress has to act now. What do? These companies need to be bailed out. Make a decision, make a decision, make a decision. Quickly. What happened? The media is acting like they don't know what happened. How could this happen? You're going to have to tune in so we can figure this out together. Right? When in reality, they know better than most people because they report on everything that happens every day. So the media will know of certain laws that were passed or repealed that may have led us up to this day. Right? For example, there was a act called the Glass-Steagall Act, and there was a repeal of the Glass-Steagall Act. The Glass-Steagall Act was enacted after the Great Depression. It separated commercial banks and investment banks, in part to avoid potential conflicts of interest between the lending activities of the former and rating activities of the latter. This happened in 1999 under President Bill Clinton. President Bill Clinton signed into law the Gramm-Leach-Bliley Act, which repealed portions of the Glass-Steagall Act. So, when this happens, a few people were just like, if this act is going to be repealed, we're probably going to have an economic collapse somewhere around 2008. This is documented stuff, right? Okay. But yet for all, when the housing market starts to bubble, the media, who knew this and knew this day may come, and you have all of these smart people, financial experts on a panel, and everybody's like, how could this happen, right? This happened in 1999, but yet and people warned back then that in 2007, 2008, that this could possibly come back to bite us in the ass. Yet for all, and when 2008 got here, everybody's like, panic, mass hysteria, what's going on? And maybe not until 2010, 12, 2014 is then you start seeing all of these documentaries of a whole bunch of guys who were just like, I told you so. But the media wasn't sitting down the guys who said I told you so. They're telling me and you, tune in at 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock, 11 o'clock, so we could figure this out together. We need to be really careful. Deconstructing the lie. And the last part of the lie, I want to end in a story. Now, when I was growing up, I'm not going to hold you too long. When I was growing up in Hollis, Queens, New York, I always went around and I always were noticing that out of all the black people that lived in my hood, none of the black people owned any of the stores in my hood. The people that owned the stores in my hood, the Five and Dime, the laundromat, the pizza shop, Dunkin' Donuts, or whatever it was around my hood in Hollis, Queens, my hood didn't own the stores. This bothered me, and I didn't know why. I did not know that there were laws in place that gave incentives to certain cultures to buy certain things, and that those same laws blocked other people out from buying certain things. So our neighborhoods look the way they look by design. There is kind of this mythos that if black, white, red, yellow, whatever color you are, that certain cultures like to stick to their own, certain races like to stick to their own. When in reality, there is a lot of evidence to deconstruct the lie that most human beings of any color just want a comfortable place to live, and all they may like or enjoy people of the same belief system to live around them, but to live around people that look like you and think like you isn't the main priority. The main priority is we just want the most bang for our buck. We just want the most comfortable situation for us. And who is around us comes later in our priority, in our list of values, in that regard. So I'll end it with a story, and the story, this is episode 6 of Just My Thoughts, Deconstructing the Lie, and I'll end with this story. I was in high school. I went to Thomas A. Edison High School in New York City. I'm in shop class. Mr. Schaefer, shout out to DJ LMV. I met my DJ partner in this class in freshman year. Yeah, Vaughn, me and you go back like George Jefferson's hairline. Anyway, there was a fellow by the name of Joe Tisciuti. I'm not sure the ethnic background of that name. Perhaps that's Italian, Tisciuti. And one day, Joe Tisciuti, fairly smart kid, comes up to me and says, you guys are lucky, referring to black people, you guys are lucky that my people saved you. His words, 2 high school kids, one trying to make the other feel bad. Joe Tisciuti is talking to me. Joe was just like, if it weren't for white people, you guys, black people, you guys would have still been in the bush. We rescued you from the bush. There's a number of things wrong with that. I didn't have the knowledge at 14 years old when I heard this nonsense. I didn't have I wanted to punch him in his face. I didn't have the knowledge to really argue with him back then. Sounded crazy. I didn't believe it. But how did he come to that conclusion? He really thought that. And flash forward however many decades from that angry day in high school, is that the way the books and history is taught in this country, you would really think that the people of African descent, that their history, basically American history, as it pertains to people of African descent, starts in the in the slave trade. when there was a whole bunch of years that happened actually before that. Deconstructing the Lie. This is your main man, Graffiti Bleu. Oh, I got one. Trying not to be too long-winded with it. I'm gonna put a couple of links in the description at Deconstruct these presumptions. One of the links is also going to be that you'll find in the description. Deconstructs the lie, right, of this notion that people of African descent are somehow less lucky in race politics, but somehow we did it to ourselves by being chosen for slavery, by being easier to trick or something like that, or just plain unfortunate. That's really not the case. A lot of people do not realize that people of African descent were chosen for American slavery partially because it would be harder for African slaves to assimilate inside of American culture. If you had a group of Irish slaves, Italian slaves, or something like that, right? And some of the slaves escape. It would be easier for a fairer skinned fellow or female to assimilate and escape, be adopted in family. That'd be harder to spot. It's hard for a black woman or man to assimilate. They're easier to pick out of a crowd, so to speak. So blacks were not chosen because they were easier to trick, so to speak. It was more of a choice due to is logistics the right word? So things like that people may not realize or understand. And if you don't know, you don't know. And then with so many things that we don't know, and then we formulate our opinion, right? We formulate our opinions and we build our perceptions on a bunch of stuff. Some of that stuff is true, some of the stuff is not. And that's why I wanted to make this episode of Just My Thoughts, Deconstructing the Lie. I know some of my thoughts were all over the place. It's because when you're with so many lies told, where do you start to peel this lie apart? So I just figured I can't bring light to every lie ever told. How long would that video be? But I just wanted to take out a few key things and put that into a package that hopefully this video doesn't last longer than 20 minutes. And just to give anyone who takes the time to check this blog out, just to give you some things to consider when it comes time to coming to any final conclusion which brings you to a certain place, and wondering, especially when it comes to wondering why all the background noise, and there are so many people saying, I don't know what to believe anymore. The links are in the description. Some pretty cool articles I'm going to be putting in the description, so I implore you to click them. Thank you. Like, share, subscribe, hit that notification bell down somewhere at the bottom of your screen. And this is your main man, Just My Thoughts, episode 6, Deconstructing the Lie. I'm out.